Hello, hello. We're here again, the homie PeanutTheWicked.
And Nelly or Nelson.
We're back.
And welcome to
The missing component. This is like what, episode 3?
something like that.
Episode 3.
It might be 4. Who knows?
This is exciting. Nelly, how do you feel?
How you think I feel, dumbho?
Probably the way she looks. Tired.
I'm a little tired.
Anyway.
Of you.
So yeah, this is the new episode. We're here again. And as always, let me start with, we want to thank you guys who have been watching, who have been supporting, who have been showing love, to our friends who reach out and tell us that they've had fun watching us. I definitely want to give you guys some respect and some love. So
keep viewing and keep liking and keep subscribing, please. And it's not for the likes. It literally is just so we know that you guys are watching us and you're giving feedback. We enjoy feedback, so keep giving our feedback. You could tell us how big her head is and how much of a bitch and cunt she is. We understand. We love it, So
anyway, so episode 3, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about how maybe this generation might be a little more sensitive or maybe a little more aware.
Ooh. Okay. Are we too sensitive or are we just more aware? That's a good question.
Stop clapping, girl.
So, give your opinion. Do you think we are too sensitive in today's society, or do you think maybe we are just more aware of shit? What's your opinion first?
In my opinion, I think we are too sensitive to be aware. Do you get it?
Elaborate.
Like, it's so good to be aware, but I feel like sometimes we have to we have to be able to just like know when and where and how we're going to put our input and who are we going to put our input to. Because if it's a person that is down the block that obviously that person has no common sense, should I make that person aware? And should I show my sensitivity to that person, or should you just like pay her dust? Because at the end of the day, like, are those people that I'm gonna communicate my sensitivity to? Are they gonna be capable enough to understand what I'm talking about, or are they gonna continue the same cycle of either disrespect or of
whatever, like bad behavior?
Exactly. And like that's my opinion, but there's some people out there who are very sensitive.
Who are you talking about?
I know,
Not
some dumb
talking
bitch
about
over
me,
here.
bitch.
So I think I'm in that point of life where I try to see who I'm directing my opinion to, and if my opinion is gonna be
truly understood.
Yeah, exactly.
I think in simpler terms, I think what you're saying is sometimes we gotta pick and choose our battles. And it's a very true statement. We do gotta pick and choose our battles. We can't just give everything and everyone a reaction or give our energy, because sometimes it's a waste of time. Sometimes it's a waste of your energy and you could have used that energy elsewhere.
I think it goes to like, when it comes to that statement, I think it's more of like a everyday situation. Obviously, if it's a mass thing, like when it comes to like political, or when it comes to something that's gonna really hurt a certain community, then you have to bring the awareness and talk about the awareness. But if it's an everyday thing where it's just like my boss, blah 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 blah, like, do you really want to correct that? Or my associate, or like anything that has to do with someone that you're not gonna have in your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Do I really want to teach them and waste my fucking time? Because most of the time these people are ignorant and they're gonna stay ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think because I want to go back to the question. Um, I think in today's in today's world, I personally don't think we're too sensitive. I do think we are more aware of, the way you were saying, of bad behavior, no matter what that looks like, in terms of like disrespect, in terms of manipulation, in terms of like toxic behavior. Um, so just because you call something out, or you're yeah, let's put it that way. If you're calling something out, you're not being sensitive just because you're pointing it out. You're calling it out. You're calling out toxic behavior. You're calling out like whatever is like whatever, like unnecessary shit. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, like, from my personal experience, like I say that like the bad experiences that I have in terms of like, not to put anybody on blast, but in terms of like family. So if I happen to point out, hey, you know what, this individual's behavior, like, it's not really fair, or it's not really right. Like, why is this kind of like being, brushed under the rug, as they say? But then, there'll be people who, like, no, like, let's not be too sensitive. They're going through this, or that's just the way they are. No, that's the point of
that's an
calling it out.
excuse.
Exactly, that's the point of, I'm aware that person's
It's
behavior.
toxic.
Yeah.
It's
and
disrespectful.
and for, like, maybe people around to be like, oh, that's just the way they are, don't take it personal. It's not about that I'm taking it personal. It's just that behavior should not be tolerated. It should not be tolerated. And the people around who kind of say those things of like, that's just the way they are, or they're going through some shit. You are what you would call an enabler. You're enabling and encouraging that behavior by also not calling it out, by also not sitting down with that person and be like, listen, how you're reacting, how you're coming off, it's not healthy.
You know, one thing that I've learned so far from like therapy is like people who are an older generation, or a generation like we're millennials.
Mm-hmm.
People that are millennials and younger, like they understand this concept better
Mm-hmm.
than the older generation, unless the only if that those people who are from the older generation have gone through a healing cycle, which it could be spiritually, therapy, whatever it is. But for me, when it comes to family, like I already know who are the toxic ones and who are not the toxic ones. So what I do is I just cut them off. I really don't
Mm-hmm.
care anymore. I'll give you as much time. I will give you as much time, and I will give you um as
Maybe.
much of my feelings and my time to that person as much as I'm able to handle. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
know that person is toxic, but I still have to have them around, like in for Thanksgiving dinner or like once in a while, like I'll mentally prepare myself,
Yes.
and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna have to deal with this individual, and I have to understand I can't have this individual trigger
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
because I know what they're about. But if it's people that you know that they might understand, or they might be able to change because they understand the triggers, the trauma, and knows your respect, then I will sit down and explain myself to them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, ain't no what we do with our lives. Ain't nobody gotta know. Ain't nobody gotta understand, because at the end of the day, you know, we all are here to like live out our own perception of life, So
and I wanna um go off of what you were saying. Like sometimes, like let's say, yeah, you're going to a Thanksgiving dinner or a family dinner, and there's going to be people that you are keeping your distance from. It takes a lot of energy and sometimes self-discipline to be mentally ready to, yes, be in their space, sometimes hear a comment or two where it's a little bit of a slick ass comment, and it really is draining to be disciplined enough to not say shit sometimes. Because I definitely have been there where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna see this person. And mentally preparing yourself is physically exhausting sometimes. It really is. Like when you're trying to be just all right, I gotta try to be on my best behavior. I gotta try not to react because I don't wanna disrespect the other people.
Or antagonize something.
Yeah. And I like I don't think people I think for the people watching, yeah, like if you're in that type of situation where you gotta mentally prepare. Like it's okay that if during or after the that situation or whatever, like to be tired because you did yourself a favor by being ready and by not taking yourself out of character, not letting them take you out of character. It really is exhausting when you got to mentally prepare for this shit. As I've been there so many fucking times.
For me, like before I used to give people that power. I'm still working on it, but I used to give a lot more power to those people than what I do now. I think now I just, go into my little, I like to think about my brain like an office. Like I go into that little file cabinet, make a mental checklist, and already know what that person is about when it comes to the way they act, behave, the way they interact with other people, the way they and either when it comes to like family, like I talk to the person who's closest to me who understands. So maybe they'll go and talk to them about it. So you know, I won't get out of character. But if it's a person that, I know they will never understand, I remove myself from that situation.
Exactly.
But if it's at work, honey,
that's a different ball.
I'll be like, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because I am not gonna put up with nobody's fucking bullshit. And like I've said it in episode 1, I have quit many fucking jobs. I have left many fucking circumstances in my fucking life. Because I wasn't like my standards weren't met, or I felt triggered, or I felt disrespected, and everything ties down to accountability. If they're not held accountable just because they have either a higher power, or they are they're hired to a higher standard or higher position. Like for me, when it comes to work, like it's like, okay, I'm gonna come here, do my job. I know you don't like me. I'm still gonna keep it cordial with you. I'm gonna keep it cordial. I'm gonna smile at you. I'm gonna say good morning. But I'm not gonna kiki with you. I am not gonna kiki with you because at the end of the day, I know what you're about.
Right.
And honey, it took me. I literally had to learn this. I think from my last past job, because not everyone's a fucking friend, and not everyone is rooting for you. And trust me, I've checked so many bitches at work. But now I think with my now in the future, I think I'm not even gonna check them. I'm just gonna do what I do with my family. Just do a little mental check and be like, this is what they did, this is what they're doing, this is how they made me feel.
I'm not fucking with it.
I'm not fucking with that bitch. And don't ask me why, because I'm not explaining myself.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, how do you? This is gonna be a hard question for you, bitch. I know, cause this bitch.
Shoot.
How do you manage uncomfortability
Mm-hmm.
in social and or workspaces?
How do I? That is a good question. It's like what I was saying before. Even though we shouldn't have to, mentally preparing, mentally preparing, and mentally being ready to be in a situation where you're not comfortable. Even though you shouldn't place yourself in situations where you're not comfortable, it'll happen. Whether it be work or again family stuff, what have you. Or even sometimes if you're out and about and you randomly come across some motherfucker that you don't fuck with. Um, you gotta mentally be ready. You gotta mentally discipline yourself to hold yourself to a standard where you're not gonna let outside forces fuck with your inner peace. You shouldn't allow that to happen. Why are you smiling?
No, it's funny because
Because of how I used to
you no
snap.
no 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 not because of that, because you're an Aquarius and I'm a fucking Capricorn, and
Ugh.
even though we discipline ourselves, I think at the end of the day, like, our facial expressions say everything, and we can't hide
Yeah,
that. We can't discipline.
yeah,
We cannot discipline that, and we cannot hide that. But I mean,
yeah. We're definitely those people, and we've definitely been there. Like there was this one time me and Ellie were out in the bar, and the bartender kind of annoyed me, and I was polite, but Nelly kept being like, "Fix your face," and I was like, "I'm fine."
I think that's where our difference is at. Like, um, I think I'm a little bit more aware of my. I could play fake bitch a little bit longer than he can. Like, it's a little more harder for him to just, like, not like spaz out, or not like not see in his face. Um, but I think people call it being fake, but I think it's, for me, it's more like being cordial. If that
Mm-hmm.
person is feeling a certain type of way, um, I refuse to give them power to make them think, or make me think they're making me feel a certain way.
A power where you step out of your character,
Yeah,
and you shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like
because we
that's
look like
why.
the crazy bitches if we
Yeah,
do.
yeah, and that's why again it comes to like that's what I do. I mentally prepare myself, and self discipline is really something that I still have a hard time with. Again, like I said, like we were out in a bar and the bartender kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and like I was polite, but my face said something else.
Those stories, if we say this, like, the people that have hung out with us know
Yeah.
what we're talking about. But, like, we have stories. We literally have so many fucking stories of, like, certain um
People being like,
weird, acting a certain way when we're together.
yeah.
And it's just,
We're
it's
like, why? We're out chilling. We're a vibe. And people just like, people really, I'm not even going to say low key. They're high key haters. High key haters. And
like
we really do have stories
like the day
for
of the
days.
drag queen, when we were with me, you, and
Oh,
Lexi, and, like,
yes. Oh, Lexi, hi.
she said a certain thing, and we were like,
Yes. A certain
bitch.
drag queen. We're not going to mention the girl's name, but
Certain
that
drag
was,
queens.
that was in that situation, the roles were reversed because she said something slick, and you were the one that you didn't say anything, but your reaction was there. You were like it was clear as day. It
And the
was
fun
clear as
and the
day.
funny part is that she tried me the whole entire night, and
I have to agree.
I was
She definitely tried you the whole
I
night.
I was waiting for her to come out of her face, because I'm from Brooklyn. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm ready to fucking fight. Like, I don't give a fuck if I have to get kicked out or whatever. but I will rag the fucking floor with you. But it takes me a while to get there, but she
Yeah.
definitely was pushing the buttons.
Yeah.
It did not help that she was Caucasian. Um, and
Yeah.
it did not help that she went out of her way to call me fat and ugly. Um,
And she thought she was kikiing, like she thought she was being cute and
yeah,
funny, and there's a line where like, yeah, we're kikiing and you're a performer, so you have to like, with the drag queens, they want to have that like gag, like, oh,
let me
she didn't, oh,
let me rephrase that. She called me. She said it always got to be the fat, ugly Mexicans. That's what she said. Um, and that's where she kind of pushed the button, and I had to like leave because I was gonna like fuck her up. I didn't give a damn of what was happening, what was going around, but I really had to leave at then. And also, I was drunk,
yeah,
so
yeah, we were drunk.
it wasn't we weren't acting out. We were just having fun. We were
Yeah, we
laughing
were
and we were having fun.
vibing.
And it's just like she came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And this is the reason I don't go to Chelsea or House Kitchen bars because of this situation.
Yeah.
But
But it's like I've told him for years, I like going to the places where the people around us, I don't care to make people uncomfortable just because we're not the clientele or the certain aesthetic that people are used to. I don't mind it. I like going somewhere and being and standing out. I love it. And I've told him for years, and this is the conversation me and him have had for years. I love it. Going to places and we stand out, everybody's looking at us, giving us the side. I love it. I love it. But anyway, yeah, looking back at it, to be totally honest, in that situation, I think we just should have jumped on her. But anyway, water under the bridge. Next question.
that's why she's still not cast for RuPaul's Drag Race.
Anyway,
Anywho, going back to like family and like people that are like closer to people who are in our circle, do you think it's easier now to be more upfront, even though you will get villainized for maybe our opinions or like maybe our villainized out the way we reacted or acted?
hmm um, I will speak from my experience. Yeah, like I think let's again with family, I have stories for days when it comes to family. But yeah, like I think sometimes within your family, I think maybe a lot of people will be able to like understand me because maybe they've been there or going through that themselves now. Sometimes when you call out toxic behavior in family, like you're villainized, or they'll say, and you're being too sensitive. But again, I'm not. Like, if you're saying that a certain someone's behavior is just bad all around and negative all around, and you point it out, and like, so this is again my experience. What I've been told for years is that sometimes
That you're short.
my message in what I'm saying is true, but it's how I deliver the message that is the problem. However, that shouldn't be the fucking problem. If I'm passionate about something, and like I said in I think episode 1, I'm somebody who feels things deeply. So if
Aquarius.
if I'm passionate and I feel this deeply about something, don't fucking villainize me over it. Don't just point out, well, the way you're going about it or your reaction is the problem. What about the other person's fucking behavior or maybe what they said that made me react this way? And that's why again, like we're talking about now, like, are we too sensitive or are we just more aware? And that's why my answer to that is we are more aware. We're more aware of toxic behavior, manipulation, toxic behavior. We're more aware of it. And just because I call it out, it doesn't make me fucking sensitive. Or just because I call it out, you shouldn't villainize me for calling it out. I'm not trying to start shit, especially if I'm trying to deliver it to you in a healthy way. But then you flip it. Oh, why do you have to say that? Or why this or why that? Because why not? Why not? Again, I understand, like I said before, the picking and choosing your battles. But for example, if it's in your family, and obviously people care about their families, you're going to speak up and you're in a comfortable space sometimes. So you're going to speak up, you're going to call it out. But I think sometimes then you're made to be the villain, you're made to be the black sheep. And me, for example, being somebody that's been there, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I don't personally believe that we are too sensitive nowadays as a society. I think we are more aware because we're calling shit out.
For me, it took me a while
Mm-hmm.
to be okay with that part. Not when the outside's more like in family or close friends dynamic, to be a villain or to be the person that calls things out. It took me some time, um, but for me, it's because I think I was always, when it comes to family, I think before, I've one thing I've noticed is that I was always trying to have the approval. And my approval came from always being growing up. I was always um compare,
Mm.
and you that's one thing you never want to do to a child is compare them to anyone, because you shouldn't compare anyone to anyone anyways, because at the end of the day we're all unique individuals, no matter what age, young, child, adult, older adult. We're all fucking different, so comparing someone to another person, or comparing someone to someone's achievements to another person's achievements, shouldn't be in the same um thought, or it shouldn't be in the same conversation when it comes to family. So I think that's where a lot of me having approval of certain things, it was because I was always, you know compare. But now I'm literally not giving a fuck. I slowly started cutting off people that are toxic. Like, excuse me, I literally had this conversation not long ago, like a month or two ago, with my own family, and I was like, I refuse to stay in a uncomfortable place, or in a place that makes me feel uncomfortable or is toxic to me, because I'm working on my peace of mind. Because at the end of the day, that's all we want. And I think everybody wants that. Everybody wants a peace of mind. Everybody wants to have some type of, I don't want happiness. I just want joy. Like, I literally just want joy in my life. And if you're not helping me to achieve that, or you're not rooting for me, I'm cutting you off.
Mm-hmm.
It does, and trust me, it does hurt, because it hurts cutting anyone off that you brought into your life. But I'd rather cut that person off than keep having the abuse done to me over and over again. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and because of this short thing over here, big headed short thing over here, I think it has helped me, like, you know be okay with that part of my life. You know.
Yeah, I've definitely, like, obviously being such close friends, we've had numerous conversations where I've told him it's okay if you are the bad guy for cutting people off that are not good for your mental well-being. It is okay. Like, that is why I think for years, for me, I don't know. For me, it's, like, people are now finding out about, like, oh, I'm in my villain era. Being in the, my I've been in my villain era for as long as I can remember. So I've always been the bad guy whether it's been in social settings, whether it's been family, whether it's been work, I've always been made the bad guy. But that's because, again, I feel things differently and I'm too self aware and I'm way too observant of people's behavior that, yeah, I call it out. Maybe sometimes a little too early, maybe sometimes a little bit too aggressively. But and I think he can tell you this. I've been in a headspace where I'm like,
You know
I'm
what?
okay.
You know what's crazy, and what I've realized is that um when we like well for me, what I've realized is that when I call people out that I hold dear to my heart, um most of them
Mm-hmm.
figure things out, figure that I was pointing the truth out later on. And then once you cut them off, they miss you and want to come back into your life after they made you the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And the old Nelson would have taken them back, but this new Nelson,
Yeah.
I'm like, you had a chance with me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm very upfront and I'm very real, just like you are. I think that's why our friendship has lasted for so long, is because, you know,
We understand each other.
we understand the vibe. Like we understand that at the end of the day, we want the best for each other. So, and not everyone is ready. You know, there was a quote that I saw online that it said that everyone um everyone is walking around with masks. We realize that everyone's walking around with a mask on,
Mm-hmm.
and I was walking in my truth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I understand that at one point because everybody wants to like, you know, not be honest with themselves. I'm okay with being honest with myself. And I'm okay with being honest with my struggles and with who I am as a person because I think it would help other people, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or help people in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ashamed of my personal struggles in my personal life, you know. Um,
Your own trials and tribulations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are, and a lot of people are not okay with that, which is fine with that. I'm fine with that. But once it starts hurting me and hurting my life, you're cut off and you're
Mm-hmm.
gone.
They say misery loves company.
Hmm.
Not over here.
Just like you,
Not over here. Yeah, not over here,
miserable
baby.
bitch.
Oh, not over here. But I think being somebody who was, again, like a little bit too observant, a little somebody who felt things deeply. Um, People who are very self-aware, a lot of the times, yeah, like you end up being an outcast because too many people these days are not self-aware. Too many people these days are not emotionally immature, are not emotionally mature enough to
Take accountability.
for themselves.
Hmm.
For themselves, a lot of people will just act like they're not the problem. You know, like they'll walk around and, like, sometimes, like I said, if you have people enabling your behavior, then you walk around with, yeah, so because you have this mentality, so if nobody's calling me out, then I'm not the problem. You know? Um and
You know what I hate? I hate when people give the people that are like not taking accountability for their actions. I hate when they think it's okay because the other people are not calling them out, and maybe the other people that are not calling them out because of what social norms are, which is like, you know, we know that person is not either doing or saying the right thing, but we're not going to call it out because we don't want to get into it, or because we don't want to cause issues, or
mhm,
because or whatever
the case may
the
be.
case may be. But at the end of the day, like, you need to call it out, you know.
Sometimes, yeah, we have to call it out,
You
and then
have to
again,
call it out.
sometimes, like I said, you have to pick and choose your battles.
But I think the pick for that, like I said, the pick and choosing battles have to be outside people, not the people who are in your inner circle, not the people that are
I
closest
yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
I agree with
You
that.
know, the
Absolutely.
people that are closest to you, those are the people that you should hold accountable, and those are the people that you should make a decision if they're gonna stay in your life, or you're just gonna cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who are in the outside, you give them one chance. You might give them a second chance, but ain't no fucking third chance up in here, because those people are gonna keep hurting you regardless of whatever, because those people that you might give them a first chance and a second chance, and they might not be able to see it until the third chance when you cut them off. Then that's their loss.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, that's their loss.
absolutely.
um how do you manage or withstand being villainized
Ooh.
by family or close ones when it comes to disagreements?
Again, somebody who has definitely lived in his villain era for as long as I can remember.
A little villain, a
I
little one.
I I don't know. For me, I look at it like this, and I've said this to you in the past. I look at it like this. If me being the villain keeps the weak bitches away, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And there's like a Tupac quote that says the realest people don't have many friends. And Tupac is one of my favorite fucking artists of all time. He's the reason I have the nose ring. But
And also, he's bold like you.
I have some hair, bitch. Um, that's something that always stuck with me is that quote: "The realest people don't have a lot of friends." So that's why I've been okay with sometimes being the outcast. I've been okay with sometimes being the villain. I even play with that. Like my name, Peanut the Wicked. When you think of the Wicked, we think of the Wicked Witch. And again, that's why I have such a play with it, like the way my temperament used to be. Like the Wicked Witch would throw fireballs, and that's how my temperament used to be. I was throwing fucking fireballs at motherfuckers.
More like fart balls to me.
Um, so that's like for me, it just I don't know. It came easy for me to to fine. I'm the bad guy. That's fine. Because again, for me, what I have always said is it keeps the weak, fake bitches away. And also, if like let's say, because I've seen this happen to me, even still, that there'll be like a certain person who tries to make me look like the bad guy, and if there's people who you can't help it if somebody tries to make you the bad guy to other people's ears, but to the person, this person should take shit with a grain of salt.
Es que,
And
amiga, esas
they
son
can be
envidiosas.
absolutely,
Son envidiosas, son
absolutely,
celosas.
absolutely
Most of those people that want to portray you as the
the
bad
bad guy.
person usually.
You intimidate them so bad that they try to shroud you in this darkness so that nobody else can see your light. You get know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, I that's something that I've had to live with time and time again. Like again, I don't care being the bad guy. So if people talk about me like I'm the bad guy, but then the other people listening really like believe that, then that weak bitch can stay away from me too. Like I don't need weak fucks around me. Like if like let's say we're out and about, and it just so happens that another guy comes over and then he sees somebody he doesn't like and he starts bad mouthing that person to us. Like we're not the type to just believe it. We'll be like, but we're not gonna just believe it because I want to get to know that person on my own. You know what I'm saying? I want to get to know that person. I want to experience that person. I'm not going to just base my opinions and base my feelings off of the opinion of another person. That's not fair to the person.
But not
And
every.
I've been on the receiving end of that. So,
Oh, we know you receive a lot, girl. But anywho,
oh my god.
But
Mm-hmm.
you got to understand that not everyone thinks on their own. There's people out
Absolutely.
there that,
Our followers.
yeah, either they follow the crowd or they just want to be down with the crowd just because they don't
Mm-hmm.
have their
A
own
mind of their
opinion.
own.
They don't have their own opinion. They don't have a mind of their own. They're afraid to have a mind of their own because they just want to
Mm-hmm.
be so down with whatever's going on. And there's other people that are so jealous and envious of you that they need to have other people and they need to like get other people.
Create an army just to go against you. And that's something I have said, on social media, if you have followed me, that's something I have definitely said. Like, it truly is a superpower when one person who does not like you needs to create an army to go against you. Do you know how much of a superpower you have? Like, so you gotta create an army for little old me.
And you know what's crazy? That literally just I just learned that because I was um especially now that I moved to the Bronx, like it's just like it happened to me recently, and to me it's just fucking weird. It's so weird to me. It's just like why or like
Mhm.
it just makes me realize
How
how
low people can go.
and how and what are the up to, hasta dónde llega la gente para poder ver o para poder lograr su propósito, que es like, you
To
know,
destroy you. And it's
in a way,
yeah.
you know. But I used to be a people pleaser, not anymore.
I never was that, so I don't
Oh
understand.
yes, you
So
are, you bottom house.
anyway, next question.
How do you manage oh yeah, we already did that, honey. How has it affected look at me already fucking up.
Uh-huh.
How has it affected standing your ground before how 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 has it affected standing our ground
Mm-hmm.
before and now? What's the difference from present time to like, or how has it
Standing
made
your
you grow?
ground.
Yeah, how
How
has it
has that
helped?
changed? Okay. I like that question. I think when I was younger and I was trying to stand my ground, if I called out some shit, I think when I was younger, I definitely had like a feeling of guilt, maybe a little bit a feeling of shame. Like, maybe, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or maybe they're right. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Or maybe, yeah, I should let it go. But now that I am a little more self aware and aware of certain things,
And old.
um, I stand my ground. I said what I said. I said I'll say some mean things, but they were things that needed to be said. And yeah, like at this day and age, I said what I said, and it needed to be said because people, again, will give certain shit a pass or certain people a pass or like, no, it should be, just don't worry about it. No.
I think for me, if you would have asked me this question a year from now, I think um people pleaser Nelson would have answered differently than what I'm about to answer. I think it's this last year, 2024, like it made me realize a lot of things when it came to me, um and why I was seeking approval from people that ni vienen al caso, o sea,
Mm.
you know, and I think my journey and my path, it had to it had to take me to this point in my life where now I see what he was saying, which is like, it's okay, having disagreements and being villainized and like not being everyone's favorite, um and that's life. That's what life is, and that's what life.
All it
What
really
is it
is,
about?
all it really is that when people villainize you, is that they are not ready to admit to themselves and hold themselves accountable for the mistakes, for their bad behavior. That's all it really is. So I'm the bad guy because I said, you got something to work on?
Y eso es hay que hacerle así, mira.
Ow, bitch. But yeah, yeah.
Um, how media entertainment, but specifically comedy, has affected awareness and or crossing boundaries.
Comedy. Mm. So as somebody who I like to say I'm a comedian
She
because I'm
thinks
always I'm always talking some shit. I like making people laugh.
she thinks she's the joke, but she's actually the punchline.
Oh, um. So in comedy, is there a line? Yes, but I think these days there are comedians who will say some shit and then hide it with it's just comedy. Oh, this is the truth. I'm just saying what everybody's
It's like a backhanded
thinking.
compliment.
Yeah, like I do feel that again, there are definitely certain comedians who, without saying names, but there are comedians who will make racial jokes. There are things, yes, that are funny, and then there are things where it's like, excuse me, that like, I listen. I'm someone that loves to talk shit. I'm and everybody who's watching, y'all know I love talking shit. I'm always saying some shit. However, in comedy, yes, there is a line with yeah, this is comedy versus you're being borderline disrespectful, hateful, and racist. Um, there are definitely lots of white comedians that when they're doing their stand up, they'll like they play it as like no, I'm aware of the different colors and the different cultures and the different religions in our country, but then they'll still throw digs. Again, there are things that are funny, that are stereotypes that are sure funny, sure, but then again there is a line of like you're being just a tad bit racist, a tad bit hateful.
I think America, being a first world country, is in a very weird position, present time. I think that we are definitely in the lead when it comes to being more open minded when it comes to the people.
Sort of.
And there's a lot more liberation when it comes to the LGBTQ community.
Sort of, yeah, yeah.
Um, a lot more, girl. But like at the same time, you know, I think we are, in a way, we're placed as the joke and the punchline when it comes to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though we're in a weird place right now, I think other countries are viewing us so they could better themselves as a country. But it does not help that there's still bigots and racists out there, you know?
Yeah.
And the fact that we as people let those people continue their
Crusade.
no, continue their career by having very oppressive thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, I love me some Joan Rivers, you know,
Yeah.
legendary Joan Rivers. But like at the same time, it's just like we're just in a weird place right now, and I think because of the Trump era, like he has ignited certain individuals or certain things for it to be passable or be okay in social in media itself. And I think that's the reason we're here, and other brown and black people are here for, to kind of make it aware that it's not okay for you to say things, or it's not okay, or you don't get a pass because of this and that. And I don't think we should necessarily villainize everyone um in comedy, because comedy should be funny and shouldn't be taken
Absolutely.
serious, but at the same
Absolutely.
time make people in government and people in higher positions, not just entertainment, but just in politics, aware that that's entertainment, this is real life. Like
Mm-hmm.
that should be it should be two different things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um
Because there are things definitely that can be said that are, yeah,
Hurtful,
absolutely hurtful and absolutely offensive and disrespectful. Um,
and people get killed by certain
yeah,
comments,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
you
There are
know.
people that, again, there are white comedians that will say certain things and they think, oh no, this is comedy. Comedians like to have fun. But there are places in the world, places in this country, that there are people who think that way, who think little of other people who are not like them. Um, that is just my opinion. I'm not going to mention this particular comedian's name who I'm talking
Just like
about.
in politics, there's people out there that could say and call out certain names and still have their fucking job. Like if you're gonna be a bigot and you're gonna call out certain things because of your point of view in your life, you're not there for your point of view in life. You're there to better your community. You're there to better
To serve the community, because that's the
to
point.
serve your community.
Yeah.
You're not there to point out or to ostracize other
To
people.
put your beliefs onto the public
Other
when
people,
it's
you're
not.
yeah, you're not there for that. And I think the people that do that and become hurtful, especially in politics,
Mm-hmm.
should have a certain level of, like, you know, um
Morale.
not even morale, like certain, like a little, como
More
te,
compassion.
no, not even compassion. Like they should have, like,
More
there should be an effect and a cause for the certain things they do, you know.
mm-hmm.
I can't think of the word right now, but
Por
like,
idiota. Mm-hmm.
hola
like
pendeja.
like here's another example before we come to an end. Another example, like recently, a couple of months ago, I don't know, I don't think we spoke about this, but I don't know if you saw this. But so that specific comedian that I'm talking about was on somebody else's podcast. He was on a podcast, two guys, these guys of color, and what he did was talk down on black women and made these jokes about black women. And the podcasters who he was a guest on laughed it off. A lot of you will probably know what I'm talking about.
They're men.
Yes.
That's the
Let me get to the point.
reason.
Let me get to the point. So, the this particular white comedian made these comments about black women. The two podcasters that he was a guest on were also black. They were of color. I don't know exactly what, but they were of color. And they just laughed at this man's jokes as if you don't have mothers that he's talking about, as if you don't have sisters or wives or daughters of what, like, the digs that he's talking about those women in your life, and you gave him a pass. But then the episode was released, and then they got backlash for it, and only because of the backlash for the comments did they try to apologize and say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't have let it happen. You're absolutely right. Y'all should have called it out then and there, because again, I'm all for comedians having fun, talking shit, but then there is a line of, like, is this really what you think of certain people of color, of certain people who don't look like you? Is this really what you think?
You know,
But anyway,
it's crazy because black women and native women are the ones that get the most shit in this country.
mm-hmm.
And that's not
Talked about a
talk
lot.
about a lot. um and it's sad to me, it's so sad that we're in what year right now, and we're still, we're not having that respect, not just to Black and Native women, to just women in
Women.
general. It's sad that other countries have had their first woman president, but we still don't have a woman president. Being a first country, it's just a lot of things that I'm just like, it puts me into perspective of like, how advanced is America? You know, and I love America, and I love, being from here and being raised from here because it's the land of opportunity. But at the end of the
Hmm.
day, it just like, it just puts a lot of things into perspective. um
I think in the end,
yeah,
because me and you, we talked about this. I told him right now,
we're in a weird
we're
place.
we're not that we're in a weird place, but we're on a mission. And the point, and again, like when I brought it to his attention that we have to do this podcast, is because sadly we're on a mission because we have to represent. We have to represent
La
because
cultura.
everything that this presidency that's coming into office, everything that they stand for is everything that they stand for that they're against is everything we are. And that is why I say we are on a mission. We have to represent, we have to speak up, we have to put ourselves out there and show that there is nothing there is nothing monstrous or nothing ugly about people who look like us, about the people who look like our family. We are humans too, who just look a little different. We talk a little different. Our food's a little different. But y'all love our food. But anyway,
I think
yeah,
I think for a long time, and this might hurt a lot of feelings, like, but like for a long time, like brown people, especially Mexican people, or anyone that is indigenous or native, because at the end of the day, Mexican, Honduran, Guatemalan, Salvadorian, Colombian, if you look native, you're native from this land.
mm-hmm.
Anywhere, southern, central, north, you're native, right? So I think that
That's definitely
w-
something that
we're still not being represented, and we're looked at as the last
we're just brushed to the
thing.
side.
Yeah, we've always been put to the side. So I think it's very important for us to. I think it for me is more important to have representation as a brown queer Latino. Um, I
Emphasis on brown Latino because, like, sometimes as we see it, a lot of the Latino representation that we see, a lot of them are white passing. They don't look like us. They don't have the dark ass hair, the dark ass eyes, the beautiful brown skin. They look
emphasis on the beauty.
white, and it's definitely important. The representation is definitely important, the same way that it was a big deal when Black Panther the second one came out, and the actor Tenoch Huerta was in the movie. He was Namor. It was a big deal to brown skin Latinos, brown skinned Mexicans. That was a humongous deal because Tenoch looks like us. He was brown skinned, dark ass hair, dark eyes. And even he talked about in his interviews how the Latino representation, even in Mexico,
It
unfortunately, like
lacks. It
it
lacks.
lacks. Like a lot of the representation is white. Like in a lot of Latin countries, the standard of beauty is light skin, light hair, light eyes. That's the standard of beauty. Sure, it's a standard, but it shouldn't be the only fucking standard of beauty. Cause I have seen some beautiful brown fucking men, beautiful brown women with dark features. Like not.
Native features.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. But anyway,
With that said,
with that said,
oh, by the way, I wish Snow the product will come. I wish she's one of our guests. I think she's an amazing fucking person. So I
mm-hmm.
wish, and I hope later on, maybe not this season, but maybe next season, she will show up and show us some love,
Yeah,
or at least
I think
show us some
yeah,
love.
I think with the more work we put out and the more love and support that we get from you guys, our friends, little by little, yeah, like we'll, we're hoping we can blow up more and more. But it's like I told him, the more we do this, and let's say it doesn't blow up, we're having fun.
Oh yeah.
We're having fun. I love spending time with him. We're always laughing. We're always talking some shit.
Me, not that much.
But yeah, we're having fun no matter what. But the more hopefully that we blow up, and I've said this before to other people in the past too, like, if I blow up, I'm bringing my people with me. I'm bringing my people with me, and giving them the opportunity to venture out in other things where they themselves can put themselves out there to make money or what have you.
Period. With that said, thank you.
Thank you.
And see you next time. And remember, subscribe, like, comment, follow us on Instagram, The Missing
Component.
The
Missing Component.
And on YouTube,
The Missing Component
Podcast. Yes. Remember to add podcast.
Yes. Alrighty. Anyways, thank you guys again for watching. We will be working on more stuff. We will be inviting some of you guys, some of our friends, to do a podcast, to do an episode, to talk about certain topics. Yeah, this will be fun.
And much love. Take care of yourself.
And each other.
Bitch. I'm taking care of myself, not anyone, not